You know, every time I open my phone and scroll through social media, I see people talking about wealth like it's magic. Like millionaires just woke up one morning, stretched their arms, and the universe quietly slid a stack of gold bars under their bed. And maybe you've felt that too, or maybe you've had moments where you're staring at someone's success thinking, what do they know that I don't? What did they see that I didn't see? Let me tell you something that might sound uncomfortable at first. The gap between the rich and the average person is not just a money gap, it's a thought gap, mindset gap, and a worldview gap. Most people don't notice it, because it's silent, invisible, it hides in everyday decisions, small habits, subtle reactions. But if you look close, there's a pattern, a consistent psychological pattern, that repeats itself across generations of wealthy people. From the industrial titans of the 1800s to modern startup founders today, and once you see it, you cannot unsee it. Growing up, many of us were taught the same things, that the rich got lucky, that they had connections, that they inherited something, that they were born into a better starting point, and sure, some people were. But the vast majority of people who became wealthy over the last 150 years didn't start above anyone else. They started with the same chaos, the same uncertainty, the same fears you and I felt. But what separated them was not what they had, it was how they thought. And today, I want to pull you into that psychology, layer by layer. Not to motivate you, not to hype you, but to show you something real, a long-running mental pattern that quietly shapes people into wealth creators without them even realizing it. So by the time you reach the end of this video, I want you to see money, opportunity, and even your own potential differently. I want you to feel that shift inside your chest, the moment where your mind whispers, oh, that's how the wealthy do it. Let's start with one of the most misunderstood people in American history, John D. Rockefeller. Imagine being a young boy growing up in a house where money is tight, your father is barely around, and your mother works harder than anyone you've ever seen. Rockefeller didn't grow up with wealth. He grew up with worry. He grew up watching his mother stretch the last dollars of the month, and at 16 years old, when most boys were still trying to find their identity, Rockefeller walked into his first job earning a few cents a day. But here's where the shift began, not in what he earned, but in what he paid attention to. Rockefeller tracked every penny, literally, every cent that left his hands. He recorded it, which most people would find that annoying, a burden, or something boring. But to him, it was clarity, it was power, it was the first piece of a mental pattern that would later create Standard Oil, one of the largest empires in human history. He didn't think like a gambler, he didn't think like a dreamer, he thought like a builder. If you asked Rockefeller what made him successful, he wouldn't say luck. He wouldn't say timing. He would say discipline, routine, systems, and that became the foundation of his wealth, the belief that if you build the right habits, the right systems, the right mental structure, wealth is not a risk, it becomes a natural outcome. While most people spent their early income on comforts or distractions, Rockefeller did the opposite. He saved when others spent. He studied markets when others gossiped. He learned to analyze numbers when others were too tired to care, and over time, his mindset created a loop, a wealth loop. Wealth wasn't an event for him, it was a consequence of the patterns he lived by. And even though the world today looks nothing like the 1800s, that mindset hasn't changed. Now, think about Warren Buffett for a moment. People call him the greatest investor of all time. But the truth behind Buffett's genius is far simpler than people realize. Buffett doesn't see the world the way most people do. He filters decisions through models, mental models, that guide him like a compass. Things like: stay in your circle of competence, let compounding do the heavy lifting, be patient when everyone else is emotional. Now let me pause here, because this is important. Most people make decisions based on feelings, fear, excitement, insecurity, envy, and comfort. But Buffett? He makes decisions based on frameworks, and those frameworks come from clarity gained through constant learning. The man reads more than most CEOs. He spends hours thinking deeply, not scrolling endlessly. He knows something most people don't: your decisions reflect your mind, your mind reflects your inputs shape your future. And here's the uncomfortable truth: many people never become wealthy because they never give their minds the input needed to become wealthy. They want the results of a millionaire but the thoughts of an average person. They want the output without changing the operating system. Modern founders today, startup creators, tech founders, digital entrepreneurs, they follow the same psychology. They ask different questions, they see different angles. They don't ask, how can I make money this week? They ask, how can I build something that makes money for years? They don't ask, is this safe? They ask, is this scalable? Think about that difference for a moment. Most people look for safety, comfort, certainty. Millionaires look for leverage, for opportunity, for asymmetry, where one move today multiplies into 50 outcomes tomorrow. If you look at the founders of companies today, whether it's tech innovators or creators building digital brands, they think in systems, not moments. They look for tools that multiply their efforts. They embrace technology, not fear it. They don't wait for permission, they create their own. But let me pause the inspiration for a moment, because I want to be real with you. There's a point in everyone's life where the truth hits. Where you wake up one day and ask yourself, what have I been doing all these years? Because time is not something you can negotiate with. And most people don't lose to lack of opportunity, they lose to lack of mindset. They lose to hesitation, they lose to comfort, they lose to the little voice that says, later, another time, not right now. Imagine looking back 10 years from today and realizing that everything you wanted, financial peace, freedom, growth, was always on the other side of changing the way you think. Not the way you work, not the hours you grind, just your mindset. But instead, you stayed in the same cycle, replaying the same thoughts, expecting a different life. That realization hits harder than any financial mistake, because regret is the most expensive debt and it collects interest every single day. But here's the hope: mindsets are not inherited. They are installed, they are shaped, they are built, and right now, whether you realize it or not, you are living at the beginning of one of the biggest financial shifts in history. The rise of the AI-augmented millionaire. Look, in the past, becoming wealthy took large factories, massive capital, or entire teams of employees. But today, one person with AI tools can build a business that used to take 20 people. One person can create products, automate systems, optimize decisions, build financial plans, write code, design marketing, and reach millions, all from a room with a laptop. AI is not replacing people, AI is amplifying people. And the ones who learn how to combine human creativity with AI intelligence will build wealth at a speed the world has never seen before. In the next decade, millionaires won't just be investors or founders. They will be creators, problem solvers, adapters, people who learn faster than others. People who embrace tools instead of fearing them. People who ask, how can this help me scale my life, while others scroll, complain, and wait for miracles. And the beautiful thing is, you don't need to be a genius, you just need to be adaptable, curious, willing to experiment, willing to shift your thinking, willing to step out of the mental patterns that have been holding you back. Because the millionaire mind is not a gift. It's not a talent, it's a pattern, a way of seeing the world, a way of making decisions, a way of treating your time, your energy, your money, your habits. And once you see it, once you feel it inside yourself, once you start aligning your actions with it, everything begins to change. Not instantly, not magically, but steadily, quietly and powerfully. So now the real question stands in front of you: what will you do with this understanding? Will you go back to your old patterns? Or will you start shifting your mindset, one choice at a time? Drop your thoughts on the comments section, because the difference between you today and you 10 years from now is not luck, it's not who you know, it's not where you were born, it's the mindset you choose. The life you build, the patterns you repeat, and if you want to go deeper, if you want to break down how to actually rewire your thinking into the mindset that creates wealth, comment mindset shift below. And if you're ready to step into the version of yourself who makes decisions like a builder, not a bystander. Subscribe because this isn't just a video. This is the beginning of your transformation.